Yeah. All right, let's go live. So you just got off of six back-to-back calls. I know the feeling.
Oh,
And yeah, and now could use a little breather, a little bit
yes.
of sanity, arguably.
Yes.
Yeah, good times. Well, welcome everyone. We are live right now. We've got a very, very, very intimate small group. Two of my favorite ladies are here with me right now. I'll tell you that, VA and Lindsay. What we're going to talk about here today is something I think relevant to all of us, because just before we went live, we were talking about how busy we are. Lindsay, myself as well. Oh my goodness, here comes Missy. Who let her in the room? Oh my goodness. But the idea of overwhelm and what is it that actually overwhelms us? Because as you know, as we were just hearing from Ivier, we've got back to back to back to back calls and appointments and all that kind of stuff. You know what? Let me start with this. Most people don't. How about that? Right? Most people don't have, and certainly not an opportunity of their choosing. Maybe they're just, scraping and trying to maintain the so-called security of, whatever job they'd been working for the last years or decades in the changing marketplace and in the age of COVID and everything else. Right. So maybe they'd like to be busy. Okay. So if we could start with some contrast, the alternative to us being exceedingly busy would be sitting there twiddling our thumbs, wondering what life's about, and can I please get some work. And I think I could speak for pretty much everybody who's deliberately in a very on purpose fashion seeking or creating opportunities for yourself. Was it George Bernard Shaw that said people are always blaming their circumstances for what they are? I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, make them. George Bernard Shaw. Interesting perspective. So what we're really talking about then is we've put ourselves deliberately, if this is true for you, you've put yourself deliberately into a condition of being busy, which means what? Being on purpose, being in demand. Now, who doesn't want to be in demand, right? Every person on Facebook and the interwebs and TikTok and all the other stuff that people spend so much of their time doing is for what? To be in demand, to increase their fame, their visibility, right? Their reach into the marketplace, or just to, I suppose, feel like they've done something of worth by getting more people to click like on whatever they shared, whatever they had for lunch today, or okay. So a lot of attention seeking goes on, and look, that's, as a sales and marketing guy, that's good and right. Okay, best known beats best. Okay, so you outflow, you must inflow. But the consideration that we're having right now as we start this session today is overwhelm. So now I am in demand, says Ivier, says Lindsay, right? So I am in demand. In fact, I haven't had a breather. Now, does that necessarily mean you're overwhelmed? Look, I've had, this is just a recent experience that I've had, where I'm running these actions for this particular business, and I'm working and I'm doing my consulting work and I'm busy. And then my wife has to go handle something else. And it's suddenly an imbalance because those things that were on her calendar, now she has to go handle something. I am going to pick up the slack the best I can. And so I feel overwhelmed. It's like I got that, and now I'm shifting gears. Now I'm from that business over to that business. Change the words, right? Pull that card out of the computer, shove the other card in, and resume, right? Resume running your mouth. Because like EVA, right? I spend a lot of time talking with, consulting with, people, clients, prospects, etc. To be able to keep that pace and to not for it to not occur as overwhelm, I definitely have to also recharge the batteries. And I think this is where a lot of us who are type A or workaholics or whatever you want to call it, I call it just, being like obsessed with like fulfilling my purpose and like doing good work, right? Nothing wrong with that. I remember one of our members here, Missy, was talking about how she just got on a roll with creating, right, in her business, one of her businesses, creating, products, designs, and such, to the point where it's 2 a.m. Okay, does that mean that did she feel overwhelmed in that case? No, because she felt on purpose. So I think to recharge my batteries, quite often for me, means to just get quiet and to remind myself of the bigger picture and why I'm doing this. Yes, I'm frazzled. Yes, I've got too many inputs at once, that sort of a thing, which there's another clue. Make sure you don't have too many inputs. Turn off the bing bong and everything else. My computer is chronically on do not disturb mode. My Skype account, do not disturb. The ringer, off, 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 right? So I will control the inputs. That's another clue, okay? But to get back to center, so to speak, to just take a breather, because those back-to-back calls have to terminate at some point, okay? And to be judicious with how I spend that time, that gap in between actions, that has been my saving grace. When I've actually saved myself, right? Other times, yes, I've gotten overwhelmed and I've gone off a cliff with it. But times when I've been able to, with a smile, think of it like this, with a smile, to be able to sit there and confront my calendar objectively, with no emotional to and fro, just sit there. Here's the workload. Okay, here's all the people I'm intending to serve today. Here's all the actions that I input onto the calendar, right? So there's, again, the reminder of self-determinism. And then to get back to center and remind myself, here's the alternative. Sit there with no purpose, no action, no work, twiddle your thumbs and wait for something to happen to you. Ugh, you know what? Give me my calendar again. Get me back into that. How many more back-to-back calls can I have? Let's blow these stats through the friggin' roof. And I'm back. So you see, I get clarity through contrast. This is a, and it's also a sort of a practice in gratitude. We've all heard of like a gratitude list, right? So if you're sitting there moping around, being pissed off about life or whatever, okay, well, grab a pen and paper and start writing, And we're grateful for what? We're grateful for what we have, not what we lack. I have opportunity. I have work. I have my mental ability. I have, my physical senses. I have my intellect, right? I have my faith. I have. Wow, I got a lot. You know what? So even though we may be in a condition, and look, this isn't real for everybody, right? There's maybe some people on here saying, I could use some more work. Okay, but we may be in a condition of seeming overwork. But with what emotional state are we approaching that? So I think the overwhelm comes from feeling like you've lost control. But if we can remind ourselves and we can get clarity on the difference between self-determined, yes, I've opted in for all this work. Yes, I'm in high demand, thank goodness, because here's the contrast. Here's what it looks like on the other side of that fence. Well, I'm good right where I'm at. Okay. And you know what? If I got to send out a text, hey, Bob, I'm running 10 minutes late. I hate being late. I'm never late. Right. But all right, can we deal with that? Now, in my world, that I think endears people to me even more, because I'm not perfect. I'm accessible, not too accessible, but I'm a real person, and I'm not walking on water or anything. And then, you know what, we actually get together for that appointment, for that consultation, whatever it is. And then it's, I'm just more relatable in that way. So what I'm thinking we can all do is use the resources we have to our advantage, but that comes with having a clear perspective of, what that workload or what those resources, what those opportunities actually are. And in contrast, what it would be like without those things, right? Without those tools, without those opportunities or resources. Now, the biggest piece of all this, of course, if we just to state the obvious, the biggest piece of all this is you. Because the same circumstances that are revealed in your world could be revealed in someone else's world and have completely different outcomes based on who not just intellectually, but emotionally, who is confronting or not willing to confront those circumstances. So it's often been said, and this may sound like a cliche, that life isn't just, what happens to you, but how you react to it, how you respond to it. In other words, what responsibility are you exercising or failing to exercise, right? So what responsibility or irresponsibility are you demonstrating in the face of whatever the circumstances are? And the responsible approach to that would be like, you know what, I caused this. There's some part of this that I caused. I showed up. I put my hand in the air. I chose this instead of that, right? Nobody put a gun to my head. I showed up. Okay, fantastic. So you're responsible for having shown up. And then from there, you could see, well, now that I've shown up, what else could I be responsible for here? You know what? I could rearrange my calendar. So overwhelm conditions like this get spread out or don't occur, right? In fact, I was just helping someone set up their calendar with a calendar software. A lot of you are familiar with things like Calendly and Once Hub. I've been using Once Hub back when it was only schedule once. Now they've got chat once and appointment once or something. I don't know. I use schedule once, but I know that program like the back of my hand. And I was helping a new team member of mine in one of my marketing groups set up there. They had no idea what is this calendar thing. I was like, oh, this is great. It's going to integrate. Here's your Zoom account for the teleconferencing. That's where the meeting place is going to be. Now it's going to interface with your Apple Calendar or your Microsoft or your Google Calendar. It knows when your busy times are. It can see, other subsidiary calendars like family time and blah, 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 right? Go to the doctor, and it can see all that stuff and it can set it all up for you. And this is going to save you time. And one of the settings in there is buffer. Okay. So look at all the calendars, look at here's all the data. Okay. And how much buffer time do you want in between this and anything else? 5 minutes, 15 minutes, half hour, a day? You say, right? Okay. And how much lead time do you want? You know what? If I show up on your calendar right now, can I book you for 15 minutes from now? And surprise, here I am. Can I do that? Oh, no, I need at least a 4-hour lead time. Or 2 days, or whatever it happens to be, depending on what the purpose is. Now I've got multiple accounts for multiple businesses and lots of pages, and they all talk to each other, and they all know who's on first and who's on second and all that. But that's for my own sanity. Now, if we are finding ourselves once again in an overwhelm condition, is there something like that? And look, if you're not familiar with this, just go to oncehub.com or calendly.com. And grab a free account. Of course, I use the paid versions. You upgrade, and I think I spend $12 or something. But oh my goodness, the amount of order that creates in my life and on my calendar. Even though I've got multiple calendars, they all converge on one, and I can see it all, right? And there's the little buffer times, right? And there's when I review my day, I know that you can't get on my calendar today. It's got to be tomorrow. That sort of a thing. So that creates order in my mind, on my calendar, in my life for $12 per month, right? Thank you. Because I don't know this stuff, right? I don't know how to program all this. You know what? Maybe that's the punchline for the whole day here is, if you're experiencing overwhelm, what technology have you failed to use? Look, anybody here who's a member, if you need help with setting up calendar software, yeah, I'm your guy. I can do that in my sleep. I do it for entire sales groups, and yeah, I'm not saying that my time is free. I'm already overwhelmed, but if I can help a member here to create some more order in your life, I'm happy to do so. We could even film it, and it'll be a demo for anybody else who wants to do that. I think Glenn uses this stuff. I know Lindsay and others use it. I know Missy, you just got enlightened as to the ways of schedule once, right? And so maybe that could be like a sub lesson that we put in here for all posterity, right? You can have that and run with it. But back to the main idea is that you chose this. You chose these actions, or at least these purposes, right? And then those actions, hopefully that fit into the purpose. You're finding that they're manageable, they're workable, even though you've got other purposes and other hats that you're wearing in your life. that you've been able to work those in. Now, I guess the final thought on all this is, if we're overwhelmed by other people's inputs, other people's agendas, right? Like when you look at your email inbox, right? That's everybody else's agenda for you this day. Okay. You got to be real judicious with that, because if you haven't set boundaries, well, then, yeah, you're definitely going to be overwhelmed. But now it's not of your own self-determinism. It's only your act of omission, your failure to set up boundaries, your excessive availability. So what must you do? You're going to have to reel yourself in. Again, what part of this can I be responsible for? Well, I've been responsible for allowing others to consume my time with their agendas. Okay, well, if that's real for you, fix it. Fix it. Whose life are you living? Okay, and I'm not saying to be ruthless or anything. I'm just, the reality is, look, you get any person who's gotten to the point where, yes, they do have a lot of visibility in the marketplace. Yes, they are the CEO. They're a billionaire. They're at the point where they are celebrity status or whatever. How accessible are they to Joe Public? And it's not because, hey, I want to be a dick and nobody could talk to me, but no, like for their own sanity and for their own ability to get on purpose actions done, there must be gatekeepers. There must be. Even with the tiny little bit of notoriety that I've gained, like in the world and in the marketplace, I get crazies all the time. So a lot of them can't get through to me. But look, you don't have to have anything besides an email address these days for you to be the target of every Nigerian prince and crypto Ponzi and you name it. They know who you are now, right? And you're going to get it all. Right? What's the one that I got? I think 3 times yesterday, I got a scam from what appeared to be DocuSign. Anybody know about DocuSign scams? Right? So DocuSign is a service where you can legitimize your identity and then sign the documents with a digital signature across the internet, and it's all very legitimate, all very nice. But you start seeing like a real DocuSign request from the lawyer or somebody, right? In our case, we're looking at, realtor, properties and all this kind of stuff. And so I had a legitimate DocuSign, and it was, "Dear John Lavenia," right? "Here is the link for the document." So it knows who you are. Whereas the scam ones, which I got 3 of them yesterday, I think 2 of them were DocuSign. "Dear recipient." Now, no, I'm not dear recipient. Okay, so that's called phishing, right? Hey, can you put your information here? They got you, right? Don't click on that stuff, right? So the other one is PayPal. "Dear customer." No, I'm not dear customer. PayPal knows exactly who I am. Okay, and you can dig into the source code and you can see all the BS that goes on with that. But most people, they don't know, they don't think about this stuff, right? All they know is that, hey, they emailed me, it must be real. I know I'm on a bit of a tangent right now, but these are, think about, you want to be overwhelmed? Go ahead and respond to one of those scams. And now unwind that. And now get with, all the measures that need to be taken to restore your internet security or identity, or, unvirusify your PC or something. Holy crap. I actually know, since we're on a tangent, I actually know somebody who did the Nigerian prince deal, like for real. They did the Nigerian prince deal, cost them 10 grand. And they were about to go out of country to go have to meet the people with the bank over in I was like, at this point, your life depends on you not going. And they were really like surprised and frazzled by that I mean, can you imagine that? Can you imagine being that in the dark, that you already got taken for 10 grand and you still don't know it's a scam, and you're about to go meet the people for the banking thing? I may have saved a life. I don't know. I don't know what happens over there. Anyway, I love you guys. Let's not be overwhelmed. Ivier, you are a superhero. I know you've got a cape and mask, and but at the same time, even superheroes need a little food now and then, or a little bit of sleep. And even Superman had, what was it, kryptonite, right? So there is such a thing as kryptonite. not really, but in the story. And so, and I think that's the beautiful thing about stories like that before they've been debauched and corrupted by modern whatever's going on in society right now. But the original story of Superman, right? Here is, this person about truth, justice, and the American way, but they have an Achilles heel, right? Kryptonite. They are relatable in such a way that they display, very human failings, right, and things like this. And reminding me also of another superhero story, more modern, The Incredibles. Anybody ever see the movie The Incredibles? Right. So that was a different play on, like a superhero theme, where there's this whole family of like superheroes, but they've suppressed themselves because of societal, regulations. They're supposed to be, in the closet with all this stuff. Right. And then if you've seen the movie, I think it was really great how they ultimately, they had to, save the day. And turns out they're not bad people after all. Right. They just have these powers and stuff. So let's not suppress ourselves, right? And if you're a superhero, don't be in the closet about that. But at the same time, don't strangle yourself with kryptonite unnecessarily, right? And that requires that, feed yourself, physically, of course, as well as mentally, emotionally, feed yourself. I started my day with quiet time, as I do almost every day, right? I've missed a day here and there, right? I must be a man of integrity here with you all. I mean, I wrote the book on it, right? So I miss a day here and there. But yeah, I went to the gym, right? That's feeding myself, right? That's doing something objective and physically, beneficial. And now, because of, and I know Ivier does this as well, right? With your run, right? You get your exercise, right? So now the endorphins, right? And I'm not the doctor guy. I don't know all the chemicals or whatever, but I move faster. I talk faster. I get things done. I don't belabor. Shouldn't I, right? I'm already in motion. There's the beauty of knowing what to do. Back to the idea of calendaring, right? But knowing what to do and just getting it done is that just knowing what to do induces motion. Not knowing what to do, in other words, indecision is a stop, right? Or non-goingness, right? Stoppingness. Well, that sucks. Right. Well, if I know what to do, and one of those things to do is go hit the gym. Oh, okay, great. I did it. Now I'm in motion. What's the next action? Next. And if we want more time, I guess here's the ultimate punchline to all this. If we want more time, get stuff done. Anything that's done is off my calendar. And if it's off my calendar, I now have more time. it's just logic. Okay. But we're not going to get stuff done if we're sitting there in a state of emotionally rejecting the workload or the off-purpose stuff, really the off-purpose stuff that impinges on our day and our psyche. I can be busy. I can be going at warp speed and be as calm as a cucumber, as long as I'm on purpose and I know it. What do you guys think about this? Glenn, please, sir. It's good to see you. I missed your talk yesterday. I've been, well, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, it's not as if you have anything going on over there, Don. This is a very on-team topic for me because I've been thinking about this overwhelm, this concept of overwhelm. As you know, I've been getting busier and busier lately with different ventures and things that are being offered to me and opportunities and so forth. I have learned about myself that what I call overwhelm is all in my own head. It's not because I've got too much to do and not enough time to do it. For me, overwhelm is almost always what I call overwhelm is almost always my unwillingness or refusal to do that set of things that I know I need to do, and I put it off and procrastinate, and then it becomes cramming at 2 a.m. and the last minute stuff, and I put this pressure, end up putting this pressure on myself. They say, well, what do you expect me to do? I haven't got time. What unwilling earlier and unwilling to do what I know I knew I needed to do to accomplish these things. And so the lesson learning for me is as soon as I get word that something needs to be done, or as soon as I start in working on a project or a venture, get to work right now and do something on it every day, every week, and be more consistent with my work up front, so that, as you say, as you've just said, I've got the thing done, it's off my calendar, and look at this, I've got so much time. Well, what else can I do? What's the next thing? So for me, I'm now in a place where when I start to feel something that feels like overwhelm, I immediately stop and look inward. Okay, what am I not doing? Which tasks am I not executing on? Oh, get that done. Great. There went the overwhelm. And I'm cool. Back to you, John.
Thank you, brother. Good times, right? Just being willing to look. Just being willing to look. You can't solve a problem unless you can confront the problem, right? So beautiful, Glenn. Glad you're here, my friend. I see Missy's here, Edward, Ivier, Janet, Lindsay, Virginia. Let's go to Missy. Hey, Missy, what's going on?
Hi. Glenn was great yesterday and Ivier was great the day before, just fantastic. And I spoke a little bit about this with Glenn and the group, and they helped me, but I am feeling, I would not use the word overwhelmed. It's, I'm in new territory in which I have never been before, where no girl has gone before, Glenn. And as you know, John, and so I feel this sense of, but I haven't been there. It's so new to me that I haven't developed abilities far beyond those of mortal men. How do I know I can? And then I just started the 10X book and my head's exploding. Very compelling. I could not put it down. And I read 10 times more than I would have read.
There you go. You're doing it.
But it's not overwhelmed, but it's this underlying, I guess I said yesterday it was a fear that I can't do it. And but my guts are leading me. My guts, I'm going to do it anyway, but I would like to get rid of that feeling. And I don't know what to do. I didn't have this when I was just making mugs. I didn't have that feeling. I don't have to deal with any of these people. So if you got a quick fix, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah,
There isn't.
no, you're doing it. You're doing it. The what you put in is what comes out. So, and Missy, you're well studied. So I mean, I know you personally, and I know that you're very intelligent and that you've been putting in good content for a while. And I think you don't give yourself enough credit.
But I'm inexperienced.
Yeah. Guess what?
New venture.
Fine. Every neophyte starts as a neophyte, right? So now what, right? Is that like an evaluation of like your worth or something? No, it's just you're new. And good news for you, because I know some of the stuff you got your hands in is that you've got a nice slow gradient to get things going, because we've got well, just in like some of the marketing stuff that Missy and I are also involved in, there's been some hiccups, right? There's been some broken stuff. So retool, relaunch, right? So that's just part of why I'm so busy right now is retooling some stuff and going with contingency plans and things like that because of other delays. But what does that leave for people like Missy? Well, here's a go do something else, go make mugs or something, right? In the meantime, or go practice, your skills so you don't feel like such a neophyte. Because here's the thing, and this is, I think, instructive for everyone, because what Missy's referring to is a sales kind of condition where you're actually communicating with people about, product, services, value. Okay, to do that and to not be consumed by it or introverted about it, here's what I have found is the magic elixir. For me to not be introverted when I am confronting my customer, okay, I must already be complete, happy, satisfied, good enough, whatever the words are that please you, that relaxed self-confidence to the point where I can extrovert, where I can put my attention outward, not inward. I'm doing great. I'm fine, right? I'm not a neophyte. You, Mr. Customer, how can I serve you? Right. So it's getting the pitch, so to speak, getting it, selling yourself to the point where I don't need to, I don't know, script or whatever, whatever. Right. I'm just going to go have a conversation with another human and hopefully get them what they want. It's not about what I want now. It's what they want. I'm good. I got the golden goose over here. Right.
Yeah,
Hopefully for your sake. Right.
Excuse me, John. I did on my one and only call. I did great. In fact, I had all the papers, but I just spoke from the heart about what I knew. And like I said, I watched the video 10 times.
You're great.
But there's something inside that is like, you can't do this. I don't know what it is.
Okay. Well, here's the thing is that we're going to look back, and we can all say this, no matter what business you're in, no matter what you're doing, you can look back and just fast forward the videotape a bit. Do you remember back in those days when you were just, getting up and running, you weren't sure, or, you had this internal, whatever weirdness going on. Remember that? And now here you are, hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of dollars down the road. Apparently, you know what you're doing. Fine. All right. So just know that is the 100% fully expected, guaranteed future outcome, case closed. And now just deal with what you've got right now. And I think that is, by the way, that is also augmented with volume. We started our conversation by talking about how busy people were, people like Ivier and Lindsay, right? That cat right there. I'm not sure what's going on with that cat.
Ruling the house.
Oh, there he goes. Okay. So, but that comes with volume, with repetition. And I know, Missy certainly remembers this. There was a Lucille Ball episode, I Love Lucy, with her and Ethel, and they're in the candy factory.
The chocolate.
The chocolates, right? And the conveyor belt, and they're supposed to be boxing the chocolates or whatever, and they get behind schedule. And next thing you know, they're shoving chocolates in their face and down their bra, whatever. Okay. So a professional, and that was satirical, comedy and whatever. But it sure had an impact, right? People like myself, I haven't seen that episode since I was a child. What was that? The 1970s, right? Lucille Ball and all this. But it had enough of an impact. And it's an interesting metaphor for life, right? Is that the professional chocolate boxing people, they don't find themselves in a deficit condition. They don't find themselves overwhelmed. They've got lots of volume, lots of traffic that they can handle, action. But they've also got enough confidence that they know where the box is, what moves are most, economy of motion, right? Put the chocolates in the box. Nowadays, I don't think, do people actually box chocolates? Maybe, if you're in Belgium or something, but I think most chocolate these days is machinery, right? Hershey's and whatever. But you get the idea. The idea is that if Lucy and Ethel were professional chocolate boxing people at that point, there would have been no show. Nothing to see here, folks. They're just doing their job. But because they put themselves into that overwhelming, situation, you got to experience the folly of it all. And we all got to laugh, and people got to sell advertising on whatever network that was. So
Yes.
I think let's identify more with the professional, knowing that that's where we're going, and not identify so much with the, Lucy and Ethel temporary situation. Right. By the way, they didn't repeat that episode. That was a one-off, because had Lucy and Ethel gone back the next day, they would have been more competent. Right. And it would have been nothing to see.
They lost every job that day.
Right.
They were an employment agency.
Nothing to see here, folks. They're just boxing chocolates. Quite boring. Okay. Thank you, Missy. Glad you're here. Anybody else? Any other thoughts on this? Yeah, Janet, everybody knows the Candy Factory episode of I Love Lucy. So we're going to have to dig that up. Maybe it's available online. Yeah, it's been quite a while. All right, guys. Hey, let's not be overwhelmed. Let's just be on purpose, and let's move quickly and decisively. Okay. And let's create the gaps that are necessary to feed ourselves in the process. I'm saying this for me. I need to hear this. Thank you, John. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, great. So I'll create those gaps as well. And then when we're on, let's be on. And when we're off, let's be off. On, off, right? This way we've got this thing, which I've certainly not mastered, called balance. Love you guys. I'll see you again tomorrow. Tomorrow's Fun Friday. Wear a Hawaiian shirt or a funny hat or something. I'll see you guys then. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Great session, John.